Don't give up on yourself, don't give up on love, and don't give up on life. Beautifully put. Absolutely beautifully put. Knowing that, what would you say are, I know we touched on, for example, something you mentioned, self-worth. So I'm curious to know, because you've experienced it and you've worked with people around this, men and women. What do you think keeps people in abusive situations for the most part? I mean, I think I kept thinking about it in the lead up to our conversation, and attachment is one of the terms that came to mind. And I think you've mentioned how that happens. Sometimes there's a certain image you're portraying, there's a certain way you're perceived in your own community, and you're attached to that. That's part of your identity. And I think you posed a good thought as well about us just being aware of compatibility and who's compatible with us. I'm not sure how many of us actually figure that out properly. How many of us are just kind of, taking a stab in the dark. Take that how you will. But in terms of people remaining in abusive situations, from what you know, like I say, from speaking with men and women, what do you think are some of the common reasons that they stay in those?
I think the first and foremost is sense of belonging. You want to be a part of something. I hope it's changing now, but when you're a young girl, all they ever talk about is your wedding day. Do you know what I mean? When you get, so every girl wants to be married, because that could be like in churches, we have a married women's meeting. So if I'm not married, does that not make me a woman? Do you know what I mean? It's the same. Men, relationship, oh, that means that you're not man enough. You can't keep a woman. You're not disciplined enough. So people, because they want that sense of belonging, or is it acknowledgement from the outside, approval from the outside world, you end up staying, even though it's a toxic and it's an unhealthy environment, because what will society think? You couldn't keep your wife and she left you, or your husband left you. So that, I think that is the biggest problem there. And that's why I say, if you as an individual know your worth, then you know that whoever comes can only be an addition to what I already have. You know what I mean? They are not going to fulfill me. That's why I don't like this thing that this is my better half. Nothing, nobody's a half of anything. I'm already whole. So if I'm already whole, you don't need to fill me. Do you understand what I mean? So we that's why it's partnership. I'm whole, you're whole, together we are two wholes that are two happy people. Do you know what I mean? Not to say that you won't have conflict in relationships. No, of course not. But this narrative that we have, that, oh, that's my better half, I think that is mentally already wrong. Because it's like, if you don't have a partner, half of you is not there, there's something wrong with you.
I love the energy. Like, I needed to hear that. I never mind who's listening. I needed to hear that. Woo. Yeah, yeah. Woo, I love it. Oh, okay. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. Because I love the way that you've said that, in a way that, yeah, we should listen, we should think like that more. It's a very healthy way. And yeah, concentrate on becoming whole yourself before you start looking for someone to fill you with, like, if you're missing something. Because if you're going into a situation believing that you're missing or lacking something, that's a lot of burden, I think, on the other person,
Yeah.
because that means essentially they have to keep on being that way in perpetuity almost. And B, why would you go in feeling that way? Because you're always, one way or the other, it's going to come out. You're going to let the person know you don't feel like you're whole or good enough. And it's probably hard for them, especially if they care about you, to hear that, unless they might be the kind of person who'll take advantage of it, because then they'll probably feed into that more and make you, I suppose, more dependent on them to feel
Yeah.
whole and secure. It's a whole nother thing. And so I love also that push for get aware of your worth, your self-worth. It's self-worth. You have to figure that out. And I'm not too sure how everyone can do that.
No, but it's the same thing. It's not that hard though. And I think it comes from a willingness to know yourself, to understand who you are, because it's like me and you. You expecting me to know what your favorite food is? It's madness, isn't it? It's absolute madness. I don't have your taste buds. Only you know what you like and what you don't like. So how, if you don't tell me, how am I going to know what you like and what you don't like? It's the same thing, not to digress, but I like to use this example. It's the same thing when women say that their partners are not fulfilling them in the bedroom department. And then oftentimes the first question I ask is, do you actually know what you like? 9 out of the 10 times, oh, I don't know. So if you don't know what you like, how do you expect somebody else that is not in your body to know what feels good to you, what is nice to you? If you don't know whether you like chili or not, how am I supposed to know whether I should cook with chili or without chili? So it's about you wanting and willing to understand who you are, what your makeup is, what is it that drives you, what is it that pushes you.
I'm just thrilled and mesmerized by your empowerment, just how you're coming out on the other side. But I want to dial it down a little bit and trying to understand. So you was obviously in the relationship for, I'm not too sure how long. And
Too
how
long.
You can say that again. Listen, you're a survivor.
Honestly.
You made it through. That's all that matters. But like, I'm really intrigued to kind of understand the journey exactly of how you two came together, what happened during, and when you started to go through the red flags and you just carried on. It sounds like it kind of numbed you, as in a sense, and kind of spellbinded you. How long after did it get to that point for you to say, do you know what? This is it.
Well, all in all, it was 10 years. But in that 10 years, there was a big period where the relationship was just, there was no relationship. I think for me, knowing what I know now, I know that part of the problem was that when I grew up in Holland, I grew up in a very small village. And there were very, very few Black people, like me, my brother, and maybe 5 other people, like, you know, and there was nobody that I could identify with. There was nobody. I felt lost. That's the honest truth. I couldn't connect with anybody that was like me, that understood me, and then when I moved to the UK, obviously that was different because I was not in a small village anymore, and there were lots of different people, and then you meet this dark, charming guy. And obviously what I thought I was getting was different because, like I say, knowing what I know now, he had a whole different idea of why he was in the relationship to start off with. But then there was a long period where we were just not together. And then within quite a short period of time, I fell pregnant with my first son, with my first child. For me personally, and this is no judgment to anybody, but I'm just talking about myself, abortion, termination was never an option. I don't believe in that. That's just me. So I decided to keep the baby. And then, like I said, then obviously with what I had already put in my head that I wanted my kids to have the same dad, I kind of stayed, and then we broke up. It was just not working. And then you pray. There's nothing that God cannot do. When you just keep praying, you just fast, yeah. And then you try, but deep down, like I said, and that's the honest truth, I just knew, for starters, me and him were not compatible in any way. We're not compatible emotionally. We're not compatible physically, sexually. I mean, we're just not. And that's why I said that we have to know what it means to be compatible with somebody. Do you know what I mean? And that is very, very important. And then it got to a point where I was just like, no, Mupula, no, this is really not it. At the time, there was this one particular time my son said to me, and that was a turning point for me, you know, Mom, if Daddy won't be your husband, I'll be your husband. And I was like, no, you know. Yeah.
You're raising an amazing man, I'll tell you that. But let me not interrupt you. Go on, please.
And then I was like, no, because I know that kids do what they see you do and not what they see you, what they hear you say. And my son is he's a very sweet boy. He's very, very into his feelings and I was like, no, I don't want this boy to become something other than what he's meant to be. And for me, I've always known that that's always been at the back of my mind, that I'm not raising my son. I'm raising somebody's father. I'm raising somebody's husband. So what am I instilling in him to be the best dad to somebody else, or to be the best husband to somebody else, you know? So it's the same with my daughter. It's like, this is not my daughter. This is somebody, you know what I mean? What kind of life partner is she going to be? What am I putting in her that tomorrow I can say, well, you know what? I put that in her. Do you know what I mean? And that for me was the point where I said, no, 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 no. I would rather be on my own and it be hard than to stay here and kill myself and kill my children. So that for me was the turning point where I said, you know what? No, I know I can do this. You know, if my mom can get remarried with 2 kids, then the same can happen for me. And to be honest with you, at that point in time, it wasn't even about meeting anybody, because I just had vowed that never again am I going to even talk to any man, never mind date one. Do you know what I mean? So that was not even an option, but it was just about being strong enough for my children.
Yeah, I mean, that's really incredible. I think it's also very healthy, I think, also to hear mothers say, I'm not just raising a son, and not be, should we say, some mothers might be flat at all. It's like, and they'll let their son almost fill the dad's shoes in that respect. The son will step up in the ways that the father's not. And think for that to be the reason why you decided, no, 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 I have to make the situation better than this, I think is extremely commendable. And I think it's a thought a lot of parents should have, because especially, I know young men, but I'm pretty certain young women as well, when you reach your teen, adolescent years and you're getting into adulthood, if someone hasn't been raising you to be a partner or to be a husband, to be a good man, you know, they've not really thought that through. When you reach those years, most people are just stuck in fantasy land based on what they've seen in movies. And that's where they get stuck, because they'll go for someone who's perhaps just got a nice car, a nice salary, and they'll think, oh, we need to have a house and kids, but they won't think about what that entails, you know, what that means in terms of actually living together, actually building a life together, because you've not been raised to be a wife and you've not been raised to be a husband. So you know how to live your life and enjoy it. And yeah, it's fairly easy to buy a house and to make children. It's a completely different thing to be parents and to form a life together, and how everything changes. Like, you can buy a plant or a pet and life changes anyway. You have to think twice about a lot of things. And when you start to bring children and another person into the equation, it only increases how complex these things are. And yeah, again, very, very healthy way. Yeah, absolutely commend you for that. Now, my thinking here is, if someone finds themselves in a situation where they now feel, okay, maybe they're listening to this and they go, I need to start healing. I need to start resolving some of these things, or the last breakup has made me turn off women or men. I need to go back in and be in a healthier space mentally. What would be potentially a good first step for that person to take? I know it's unique for every individual and it'd be different for each individual, but just as a starting point, what's a good way to start? Is it, maybe you're in the relationship, just opening up and saying what you think? Is it trying to build a support network and try and figure out, I don't know.
I think it depends what the problem is. For example, if you're in an abusive relationship, you talking to your perpetrator is not going to help anything. Do you know what I mean? But I think, like I keep saying, the most important thing, the key to everything, is a self-acknowledgement. That first of all, okay, this is not healthy, or I need help, or you understand what I mean? So once you acknowledge that there's a problem and help is needed, then it's about finding ways to get that help, whether it's a group of friends that you know can help you, or looking outwards for different organizations that can help you to find that help. But definitely it has to come from you, you know. And the truth is this: as much as a lot of us have issues and we have problems, part of the problem is sometimes when we go out into the world, we don't want to take any responsibility. Do you understand what I mean? I could sit here and say, well, my ex was a horrible guy. fair enough, he wasn't the best of guys, but I have to own my part. My part was that I shouldn't have stayed for as long as I should. I shouldn't have never put up with half of the rubbish that I did. Do you know what I mean? So that is my part, because you teach people how to treat you. So it's also about your willingness to accept that you let yourself down to some extent. You know what I mean? So it's when you acknowledge all those things that you are then in a better position to get help and heal, because half of the time, sometimes we start off on the right place, but because we don't want to acknowledge our parts in the mess, we then go and say we go for counseling or whatever, we seek help, and then we find ourselves in the same position because we have not acknowledged our own contribution to the poisonous situation. So we keep going back to the same, reliving the same scenario, because there's no willingness to stop and say, but how am I contributing to this? Or what part or what bit of me needs to change for me to be healthy, or for me to have a healthy mindset, or for me to have a healthier outlook on stuff. Do you know what I mean? And then you can get help, and then you can you stand a better chance to get your full recovery, your full healing, your full whatever it is that you're looking for.
Impressive. It sounds like we have to learn about ourselves and, of course, learn about the resources that are out there, and then figure out which one's most appropriate for us, or just give it a try. And one thing I know from education is if the person isn't ready to learn, nothing is going to work. You can throw all the books, you can send them wherever they need to go, but unless, like I say, they've had that honest conversation with themselves, it is not going to happen. So yeah, hopefully that encourages everyone to be a bit more honest about that, take an honest accounting, and try and move forward. For example, obviously we've got empowerment heroes as a resource that happens typically, or that people happen across when it's gone the wrong way, right? Because we're working with now people who've been in a domestic abuse situation, domestic violence, all that sort of thing has come out, emotional, physical abuse. And when they come through, what's some of the support that they are given? Because I'm assuming that the organization was formed from a place of, I wish I had this. I wish I had someone to tell me this when I was going through. I wish someone could just hold my hand through this process and let me know things will be okay, and they'll guide me through to the light at the end of the tunnel. What's something that someone might typically expect or experience when they come into contact with empowerment heroes?
Well, it depends on where you are in your journey. I work with people that need me to help them, to refer them to different agencies. So it could be social services when kids are involved, to people that I'm working currently with a lady that her father was very abusive. And this lady's like 57 years old. Do you know what I mean? How that has impacted her entire life. So we're backpedaling to go back to heal so that she can let go of that burden. And then you have people that are still with the perpetrators and finding a way for them where it's safe for them to leave and what options they are there. And then we have people that have left, but they've not done the healing, and we're doing the healing work, so it just depends. And then some women just want somebody to go with them to court. Do you know what I mean? When the kid's involved or whatever. So it just depends on where you are in your journey. So it's very individual to per person, because we not all situations are the same. But the most important thing in all of that is for people to know that you're not alone. That no matter how bad your situation is, somebody has been through it, and there's help. There's definitely help available for you, whether you're not sure, should I stay, should I go, or I've left, what do I do now, or where can I go, where can I get help? That goes for women as much as it goes for men, because the scary thing is that in the whole of the UK, if you look at how many men's refugees are there, there's only 2, and how many men are actually suffering from domestic abuse. Problem is that within domestic abuse, there's so much stigma attached to abuse that people find it hard to talk about. And now imagine the double impact for men. Imagine, first of all, any guy, you come and say, oh, my wife is beating me up. Can you see the scenario? Most guys, their friends will laugh at them. What do you mean your wife is like beating you up? Do you understand what I mean? So how do you then open up to your friends and tell them that I'm in this situation? It's very complex. So every situation is different. So their needs are very, very different.
Wow. I mean, that's not a thought I guess we often have, really, when we think about, and like you might hear, oh, someone might get scratched, someone might get slapped, and we shrug it off, or we just talk it off like, oh, he's a man, can take it type thing. We don't think about, because we know if it was the opposite
the other way around,
immediately everything is shut down, you're going in. I think the fact that you also mentioned the fact about emotional abuse being a factor, and that was one of the main, that was the main factor with you, that's the main one you experienced, like that definitely can go either way. Like just a healthy relationship isn't where someone is highlighting your shortcomings all the time, making you feel like you can't do anything. Like ideally they should be, you came whole, they came whole, and they're, in my opinion, kind of like your cheerleader, you know. Like, they're not there to be your hater. The world does that enough.
You
need a supporter. Those are good, I think, good practical measures for people to consider when considering whether you're in a healthy relationship. And although we are even speaking about relationships, I can vividly just see this applying to friendships, to workplaces, as well as to
any relationship.
Anywhere you're interacting with other people. This sounds like something you need to be aware of and mindful of and check, because a lot of people might stay in a role believing, especially if we're talking about perceptions, everyone thinks that you're in an amazing job, so therefore you attach a lot of your identity to it, and you can't imagine what everyone would think if you left that. And that'll keep you in sometimes a terrible situation that might lead you to abuse all sorts of drugs or whatever to cope with it, because we all come up with usually coping mechanisms. It's a lot when you start to really think about it, you know.
It is.
But I love that one of the ultimate outcomes or objectives of empowerment heroes is to empower other people. Yes, heal them, yes, educate them, ultimately to empower them and let them take charge, if you will. I want to know why empowerment. Why was that such an important verb?
Because I think that when you empower somebody, you give them the tools for life. Because when somebody understands why something didn't work, and then you empower them with the knowledge of, okay, but if you want it to work, A, B, C, D, F are here, you make it clear. Then they go away with that knowledge, and also with the confidence and the ability to know that, okay, I know how it was to not have it, and I now know how it is to, or if I need to get it, how to go about it.
Fascinating. I'm thrilled and fascinated with your insight, everything you've experienced, and how you're just touching people's life. Even when we talk about such things as health, in the word health, there's also, if you take out the last two letters, you've got the word heal. And that whole healing process takes some time. So essentially, you're grabbing hold of people, looking at their health, helping them to look in the mirror to see their health and heal through, to stitch back their wounds of where they've been hurt. After that, kind of spinning everything the right way around and giving them, as you said, empowerment. When I think of empowerment, I think of control. More importantly, it gives you that nutrition to continue going on. And that's where everything kind of links into each other in terms of what you're doing, how you're doing it, and also having the necessary resources to help people. I'm fascinated to understand, in terms of the journey you've, ever since you created Empowerment Heroes up to date, what has been the biggest challenge?
Personally or business-wise, or what?
All of it. I want to know it all. I want to know it all.
I think as a business, the financial aspect of it, because not all the time, but a lot of people that I work with don't have the financial means to always get the help that they need. So a lot of work that I do relies on me getting funding to be able to help those people. So that at times can be quite challenging. And I think sometimes on an emotional level, it gets very frustrating, because sometimes you kind of want to almost help somebody, do you know what I mean? But you can't with personal healing journey. And some people get it the first time you sit down with them, and some people, they just don't get it. But I think that for me, the thing that keeps me doing what I do is that I know that I'm not just helping that one particular person, I'm helping the entire family or that generation. Because when you empower somebody to know better and to be better, you're changing their whole outlook and stuff. So if there are kids involved, you're changing their children's lives. You're changing the course of their next relationship. That's what keeps me going at all times, that, you know what, it's this. And I always feel that this assignment is bigger than me. I did not call myself into this at all. Who am I? Do you know what I mean? And I definitely think of all career choices that I could have made, this definitely wasn't one that I would have thought of. So I definitely think that, and for me, that is part of when you realize who you are. Because I'm a firm believer that we're all here for a reason. You know, we're not just born. So I know that this is part of my assignment. Even when it's hard, it keeps me going, because I know that I can make a difference in somebody's life. You know, whether it's just them feeling that they feel listened to, they feel that somebody understands, they feel that somebody understands or somebody supports them. That alone for me does wonders. Because abuse or mental health can be very, very lonely. Because the truth of the matter is that we're very judgmental. And so it takes a lot to be able to say that I'm struggling with my mental health. I'm struggling financially. I'm struggling emotionally. You understand what I mean? It's very, very hard. So for people to finally open up to you and say, look, I need help, it's an honor. Do you know what I mean? It's something that you can't take for granted, because you are entrusted that gift to be able to help somebody, and you can't take it for granted. So in all things, I always try that to remind myself that, Mupula, this is not about you at all. I hear my ego trying to speak. I have to put the brakes on. And especially when you do things where you're helping other people, it's very, very important that you yourself stay grounded and you yourself stay in the right path, because it's emotionally a burden to you. So you also have to be grounded, that you don't take that poison and then it become yours, if that makes sense.
Definitely makes sense. And as you're speaking, it just reminds me of a quote by Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
I think her quote was something along the lines, as soon as healing takes place, you go out there and heal somebody else. And that's what you do. Take my house to you. And again, just want to dig a bit deeper again. So you know how you said that you're there for all these people. Who's there for you? Do you have like a therapist? Do you have a community? Or
Yeah, and definitely that's why I say that all need a support system, because none of us can do any of this alone. And because it's emotionally quite tasking. So I do have a network of people that help me to stay grounded. And when I need healing myself, I just know where to knock on and say, you know what, I feel myself tipping over. And that's why I also said, back to what we're saying, that you have to know yourself. So you have to know your own triggers. You have to know when your own battery is going down. You have to know these things, because I can't give what I don't have. So if I'm on empty, how am I going to help you to recharge or to fill up? So it's very, very important that you understand how your body works, how your mind works and stuff. You know, I know that things that, if, for example, if I've had a client that whatever I was helping with is emotionally too much for me, I know what to do before I get home, because if not, I can't switch off. So it's about understanding your capability and understanding the work that you do and knowing when to say, okay, I need time out.
Yo, you're getting 10 out of 10 for answering questions. You're smashing the questions, I'll tell you. I want to say, from the sounds of it, abuse seems to thrive in isolation, whether that's you isolating yourself from the people who might be in your support network. And it could be even isolating yourself in a sense of not opening up, choosing not to share, turning up and feeling like everything's okay. Oh gosh, there's a Kelly Rowland song, but the title escapes me, where she's talking about a similar thing, where she was going through all sorts of domestic abuse and she didn't tell Beyonce or Michelle. And So it shows this happens everywhere. It's around the globe. And one of the other, I suppose, points for abuse I'm just thinking of might be ourselves. Because when you start to believe what a person who might be abusing you is saying about you, you're with yourself all day, and you might be reaffirming that all day. And it's really important to have your checks, have your measures, to know how to decompress, how to assess what's going on. Definitely
And I
encourage
think
people to do
definitely
that.
that's why it's very, very important that you take charge of your thoughts, things that, whether it's even the programs you watch, the music you listen to, because it seeps in consciously or unconsciously. You think about it all the time. And what you think and ponder becomes your reality. So it's very, very, very important that we take full responsibility of the things that we listen to, the things that we accept as reality. Because it's, just to give you an example, imagine if you're watching reality TV all day, every day, somebody's that boyfriend's always buying them LV bags or whatever. And then your boyfriend comes home and says, "Oh, hi, darling." If you don't check yourself, you'll be like, "Well, so and so's boyfriend just got them that." Or you can say to me, "It's hey, darling." And it sounds stupid, but that's the reality of how things are made. And especially in this era of social media where everything is a lie and it's fake, some people don't know how to decipher between the truth and reality. So what they see people putting out there, they actually think that that's the norm and that's normal. So when they actually living healthy, normal relationships, they're comparing it to a lie. I was working with a young girl 2 weeks ago. She was saying to me, "Oh, I just wish I just looked like this lady, KK." And I said, "Sweetheart, KK doesn't even look like KK. That's not what she wasn't born like that. How can you want to look like somebody that doesn't look like themselves?" And she started laughing and said, "But that's true." I said, "Yeah, because you have to keep everything in perspective. You're idolizing or wanting to look like somebody that is a lie." I said to her, "How many plastic surgeries has she had to look like that? You were born like that, I said, so stop looking for beauty where it's not and look at it in you." And that's why I keep going back about teaching youngsters about that self-worth and teaching them that, you know what, you don't need to look like anybody. You don't have to talk like anybody. You don't have to behave like anybody, because you are yourself. And that goes back to, we as adults, as parents, stop comparing your kids to other people's kids. They're not them. Stop it. Not everybody's meant to be academically brilliant. Some people are born to be artists. Some people are meant to be doctors. I know a lot of people that have gone to study and become doctors and hate it because they only did it because their mom or dad wanted it.
That's the mic drop moment. Stop it. You heard it here. Stop it. I'd love to I've got so many more questions. Just the conversation. I want to have more, but I know we have to come to a bit of a close for us for today. The conversation will carry on separately, and I would love definitely for you to come back and just expand on more of this, because it's very near and dear to my heart as well in many ways. I know we could have, anyway, lest I keep rambling on, I want to say we're going to transition into our closing 4 questions, surprise questions for you.
Oh dear.
And
should I be scared?
You should be excited.
No, you should be frightened.
Oh dear me.
And just say the first thing that comes to mind. Just bring it from the heart like you've been doing. And I know it's going to be fab. These are just some fabulous 4 questions to finish.
Okay.
The first one's really easy.
The first one's what?
Really easy.
Oh, right. Okay. I was already scared. Right. Okay.
Pullie, what's the best thing about being Black?
It don't crack.
Well, I hope this question isn't going to crack you considering you're Black. Okay.
Oh dear me. Oh dear me. Right. Okay. I'm officially scared now.
Okay. Who taught you how to shave?
My mom.
Less
Yeah.
said, the better.
My mom is really, really good like that. My mom, there's no, there was no subject of bound. And then if my mom couldn't answer it, because my mom is a typical Black woman that, you know, don't ask your mother that. You always knew that you can count on my dad. So yeah.
Brilliant. It's great to see that where you've modeled some of your own behaviors or approaches. Fantastic. Yeah. Maybe link to that in a way. What book or resource do you hope people still use 100 years from now?
I can't say that.
Why not?
There's this book, but it's just for ladies, so I can't tell you that.
Oh, no, come on now. Oh, you have to say it now. There's
no,
ladies listening. There's ladies listening who need to know.
This one?
There's ladies listening who really need to know about that book.
Help them to get in contact with me.
That sounds like a book I need to read. Come on.
Sorry, we can't go to the next question without knowing this book now.
I'm on Amazon. I'm on Amazon right now. What?
Yeah, good luck.
Hey, come on. What? You don't. If you'd said nothing, it would be fine. But no, you don't hint at it. Like, oh, I've found like the Holy Grail, and I'm not gonna tell you where to find it. Share the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Come on. Or at least an author. Or what's the book about? What's the book about?
It's about the magic of the P. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, that P.
What P did you think?
Let's move on.
Oh my God! You should have seen the look on your face. Oh, that's brilliant.
Any drops.
Guys, if you're looking, do your research. Put it in the comments so we can all find the book.
Yeah, I might. If I get invited back, I just might tell you. Okay.
Well, we'll hold you to that. Fabulous. That leads perfectly into our next question. What do you wish more men talked about?
The feelings. And their true feelings, you know, not what you think is cool to talk about, but really, you know, how you feeling, you know? If I say to you, how are you? Like, be honest, you know, I'm not good, you know, whether it's financially, emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever it is. I just wish that we taught men that it's okay to be authentic. It's okay to have a shit day. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm not doing that, you know, and that goes for men and women. That, oh no, is a complete sentence. It doesn't need justification. It doesn't need explanation. It's no.
Amazing. You've really empowered me this evening. I am so honored and grateful.
Aww.
No, seriously, hand on my heart, seriously, you know.
Oh, that is so sweet. Thank you.
Just having this captivating conversation, learning a lot about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and whoever's listening, please reach out, support Empowerment Heroes. I mean, you've taught me how, thought of it like that, how health is so important we speak about health every day, but we always forget to kind of take out the last two letters of the word health, because we all need health, and that's where that educational, that empowerment comes into it. But health doesn't always come in medicine form, let's be honest. Sometimes it comes just from us having the peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of soul. And on the back of that, like we've also had this evening, it also comes from laughter and love as well. So I really do appreciate taking the time and us having this conversation.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's been fun. Honestly, it has. And I think it's important that we have conversations like this more often, generally, where we make it okay to talk about hard subjects.
I can only thank you for being with us, and more importantly, thank you for doing the work that you do and choosing to use your experiences to empower and uplift others. It's just a great example for all of us. May we all do the same moving forward. Thanks for making what could have been a very challenging topic so fun, actually, to speak about, and yeah, helping us normalize a conversation about it. Whichever way we might be able to support you, please do let us know. And
thank you.
Like Ray said, just thank you. As you've been saying this, I've been thinking about some of the conversations I want to have in relationships and some of the ways I might think differently about my approaches. So you're healing people left, right, and center. Like, you know. Loose, I feel like all these other things are weighing me down. I didn't even know.
For a book, you know.
Hey,
wait. No, you're not allowed to use that. You need to tell us the book first.
Yeah. I want to know about the
magic. I'll think about it.
It's been magical having this conversation with you. And I'm sure if anyone's still listening up until this point, you've been as entranced as we have been. And we thank you for it. Like, share, subscribe, the usual. But more importantly, find out about Empowerment Heroes. Look out for yourself, your health, and that of the people you love. Have a healthier, happier community. And we'll see you again. Hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed creating.
Don't forget to follow, like, share, and connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Subscribe to our latest episode and listen to any you missed. And tune in next episode.
Take care.